This is Due By Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Merlin Mann, Alex Cox, and Max Temkin. This week's challenge, watch the pilot of Patriot. I'm sorry I'm late. I literally have to go pee, so you're going to be with Max and Renee for
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Doctor Who fan cast.
We can't talk about that without her here. What are you doing? Everybody wants to know where you went, Max. Are you still off Twitter?
I've been reading Twitter a little bit, but we'll wait for Alex to come back. My my assistant Renee is here, and she has questions for me.
Merlin.
I said she could ask me on the podcast.
Hi, Renee.
This is going to be tricky. Okay. So
maybe we should just officially have this not be the show.
Well, Alex is peeing, so it is what it is.
Okay.
All right, what do we got?
So I'm going to have a package delivered to your friend who.
Zach?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll sign that before I go.
Okay,
Does
cool.
he want it signed? What's it for?
It's for.
I don't want to. If it's for him and his family, I don't want to sign it because assuming. Do you know what I mean? Because that would be weird.
It's a It's like a charity donation
That's fine.
thing.
I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Suggestions for lunch on Friday.
Where is it downtown? They're downtown.
They're going to be downtown, but they can, I think,
Why
travel
don't you
up
look
to
at
you.
like any of those like Randolph Street spots?
Okay.
So like Little Goat Diner, the place at that awful country club for rich people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The club that everyone belongs to. They have like a pool.
Soho House?
Soho House.
Okay, yeah.
They have a restaurant that you can just go into.
Renee's really living the dream. What did you do this morning? I tried to find out if there's a club in Chicago that has a pool that Max couldn't remember.
No, she did know. Renee did know it though.
It's
Have you ever been there? It's pretty awful.
No, I've never been.
This all has to be edited out.
Been
What
where?
else do we
What's
have?
happening?
Soho. I'm just complaining about Soho House. What else? What else? Is that it?
No.
It's early.
My goal of this day is, I thought Max was on
Hey,
vacation.
should we stop and restart the recording?
No, I do edit the show against many people's wishes.
Max is on vacation.
Yay!
I'll come and do a Due By Friday. That's fun. That's not even work. The big thing that's happening today is I'm building out this little basement studio for myself where I can do some work at home and do my reading for law school and play video games at night when Veronica's asleep. I've been working in there, and it's 80% done, and I've been working in there the last 2 days because I've been at home on vacation. And there's no window. The big thing that happened today is the window's getting installed. So I've just been like a little mole person in the basement, and I go down there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and last night I came up at 7 o'clock at night, and I didn't see the daylight.
I would keep the darkness. That's nice. That's nice to have as an option.
I might be able to put a blackout shade on the window.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's also one less point of attack.
I've went my whole life laughing at dads who get who care about speaker systems. Growing up, I always had some friends who had dads who had freestanding sound panels in their living room, and they were like, "No, the sound is optimized. You can really hear the bass in this Star Wars laser disc," and they would always want to show us stuff and how loud it was. And now that I have the studio, I went on the Wirecutter and I bought their recommended speaker system, which is a 5.1 surround sound speaker system. And I installed it myself. And now all I want to do is have people over and have them listen to the bass on Star Wars.
That's actually very cool.
It sounds so fucking good. It sounds amazing. I've fully become dadded out on the sound system in the bay. I have Veronica down there, and we watched a scene from Harry Potter, and I was like, "Listen to it." They're they're whizzing all around you on the broomsticks, and she was like,
That's me and our TV, and we've had it now. I don't know how many months we've had it, and still every time it comes on, I go, "Look at how white those whites are." Just see it. No, even on the Netflix
when it's
logo.
letterboxed, you can't even see the black. It's so
really
black.
pops.
It's so black.
It's really black. And sometimes I'll do that. I'll just say, "You guys, I still really like the TV." It still feels so fresh and new to me.
You have so little to live for when you're a dad. And
man.
Yeah.
you have so
Definitely.
little. You have no respect from society.
You don't
have no
get
power.
You get no appreciation, no acknowledgement. Please at least acknowledge the base of my base and the white of my whites.
Yeah, you're just like, at least I can hear the wizard zooming all around me.
Allons-y.
Yeah, like I'm like pausing movies now. I watched Toy Story 3 the other day, and I like paused it right during the trash compactor scene to like adjust, because I had to adjust the surround sound settings. I felt like the rear surround sound wasn't loud enough.
I need to make sure this bass helps me feel more sad.
Yeah. Oh boy, it's not the trash compactor doesn't get me, but oh my god, when Andy takes the toys out and plays with them again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I was just crying alone in the basement watching
Kills
that.
me.
That scene is just devastating. See, another dad scene, because it's what all dads just want, which is appreciation.
If we can't be appreciated, we just want to be left alone. Just leave me with my base.
Do you have a special dad time and special dad space? Like not just a space on the couch, but do you have a special time to retreat?
Well, I've got an office
That's true.
That's relatively close to the house, but no, she's taken over everything. I don't even have. I have to move things to put my seltzers in the fridge. I feel like I ask so little. I say I want one 12-ounce cans width of space in the fridge, and then a little bit of depth. That's really all I ask. Can we put the chocolate milk somewhere else? Can that be not where my seltzers go? I want. It's like like Syracuse talks about having this exactly iPhone shaped area on the mantle where he can put his phone. It's like the only area that he has in the house, and he doesn't even get that. That's how I feel. It's
Why
like,
should
it's
he?
so
Why should
stupid.
he get that area on the mantle?
He hasn't earned it.
Yeah, that's because it's his house, and that's how it is.
If we had two kids, God forbid, it would be different. But with one kid, like she just gets everything. Everything is hers. Anything that arrives in the house, she's like a Tuscan Raider. She's like, she just shows up, and it's like, is that for me?
When I was a kid, my dad would always have special drinks. Like he would always have like a Snapple iced tea, or like a special like dad's forbidden pastry or something in the house. Like a piece of coffee cake. And of course, like my brother and I would eat it immediately because it was appetizing and it was right there, and it was a cold drink like right in the fridge. And then my dad would always come down and he'd look in the fridge and his Snapple would be gone. He would fucking flip out and he'd go, "Who the fuck drank my Snapple?" And I always thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I was like, go buy another one. But now that I own a house, oh my God, if someone drank one of my kombuchas, I would lose my mind. If I had like a guest came over and drank my kombucha, I would fucking lose my mind.
Yeah, there'd have to be a tribunal. It's that TSA worker problem. I always think of it. The canonical example is working for the TSA. I've said this before, but where you got to stand there and go, "Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please be sure you don't have any more than 3 ounces of liquid. If you got a water, please, for the love of God, please don't make me keep saying this." And even as the words come out of the poor person's mouth, that person knows that they will be saying that over and over for the rest of their life, and still 1 out of 5 people will have a jug of water.
Oh boy, well
this
this is one of my big pet peeves in life, which is like I think this must bother a lot of people who like know stuff about design, but like when you see bad instructions or bad signs, and I'm constantly waging this war in my office. But I first became aware of this phenomenon from a blog post that a friend of the show, Marco, wrote when he was working at a software company many years ago.
The bathroom.
That's
Yeah.
right. And he posted a photo.
God.
And he posted a photo of. In the bathroom at the software company, everyone on their way out, they would ball up their paper towel. Oh, no, they would use it to open the door handle, right? Because no one wanted to touch the door handle, which I do all the time. And then they would ball it up, and they would throw it on the ground because there was no trash can. And in response, the building added all these signs like, "Do not throw your towels on the floor. Do not leave. Towels are not permitted to leave the bathroom," or whatever. And Marco's thing was like, just put a trash can outside the door and you'll solve the problem. Like it's like a tree in a storm. It's like you have to bend or it's just going to blow right over. It's like you have to when 100 people leave that bathroom every day and want to throw their towel out, you have to like bend to their desire, or else eventually there's no sign. You can't like enforce the rule strictly enough. And my big fight at the office about this is, well, people put up signs all the time of like, put the toilet seat down, or don't leave dishes in the sink. And like, of course that doesn't work. My battle at the office is that you have to explain why it matters to you, because everyone is too smart to think that the sign applies to them.
Yeah, but it's also, there's that phenomenon that you see in most offices where like there's the formal signage that's gone up. Then it usually has a certain kind of like design aesthetic, or use the same typefaces, and the signs are always the same size. And
1996 Microsoft Word clip art.
But I mean, I'm talking about like when you go into like a professional office building and you'll say, this is room 127, janitor closet or whatever. But then you've got all the ad hoc signage, and that's what's really happening in the building. And like, that's where you've got to put stuff. There's that Vox video about the terrible doors at Vox.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's that Don Norman idea though of like, you want to have an affordance for people to do the right thing. People, a garbage can is an affordance for not having paper towels on the floor. That should not be that hard to do. But did you guys get the, I just texted you a photo from a few years ago that I've always treasured.
Oh no.
So this is near my house.
Can you please illustrate what?
So I'm looking at the sign, and I can tell that they're. I can tell that
much to love about this sign.
I can tell that they're mad. They must be mad because they made the sign and put it on their fence. And I know that they're mad about something involving dog poop. But the way they've made the sign, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, let me explain just for our listeners who can't see this. Okay, this is a fence near a kind of a park area where a lot of people walk. There's a little playground. There's, Anyhow, somebody has, using very rudimentary Microsoft something skills, printed out a sign that's in like a sub-Comic Sans font with these different shapes on it to make it like a sign. At the top it says dog poop count. And then there's a square that implies they're going to write this in by hand, but they haven't written it in by hand. They've typed it in. It says 75 piles! Exclamation point. Under that, there's a very, very, very wide oblong that says January 3rd. And then there's a double-sided arrow where they've written in by hand 1 block. And then under that, it says, we'll put this in show notes. Under that, it says, pick it up. Now, there's so much to love about this. I mean, before we even get into the pathology of a person who makes this sign for reuse over time, puts it into a plastic waterproofing thing, and then zip ties it to a fence. This is not something this person did once.
This is very next door.
It's so. I have some great next door.
I feel like this person has supplies of to laminate certain signs, tie them to fences, and a hole punch. That does not look like a traditional hole puncher because there's not 3, it's just 2. So this person has a setup.
Well, at a certain point, kids do this, and certainly adults do this. You walk around and you go, oh my gosh, on the way home from school today, I saw 7 cigarette butts. And you go, that's crazy. Or like, I saw 9 bottle caps. You might even say, wow, there's so much dog poop. On my way home from school today, I counted 5 piles of dog poop. Isn't that gross? Well, not only did that person make a habit of doing that, I want to point out this person at one point took the time, presumably before or maybe after, I don't know, before they made the sign, it became such a big deal. They went all the way around and they counted until they had found 75 piles of dog crap that they could document. And then they made a sign for it. And the beauty of this is clearly, I love that this is an ongoing project. This is something this person is going to dedicate a life to, including updating what day they found 75 piles on 1 block.
Well, this is so in our office, the big one that gets put up is signs, like slightly amusing signs that go up in the bathroom. About once a month, saying like
about wiping the seat and stuff.
Put the toilet seat down. Put the toilet seat down. And listen, no one is a bigger champion of putting the toilet seat down than myself. Like I couldn't be more sympathetic to the cause. Everyone should put the toilet seat down. But like we've tried signs that say put the toilet seat down, and they don't work. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But one of them is people are maybe they work for one day, but people are very change blind. Like it's like something changes and you notice it once, but then your brain like resets to neutral and you don't ever notice it again. So if you want to make an effective sign that's like put the toilet seat down, here's the thing with signs. Everybody thinks that they're too smart for the sign. So whenever there's a sign that's like, do not go out on the ledge and take a selfie, everyone goes, well, I know that this applies to all the other dopes who might come out on this ledge because they're the klutzes and they're going to fall off. They're going to die. They're going to die doing their Periscope selfie, but not me. Like I'm
the person killed by the Chicago selfie problem.
Yeah, but not me, right? I'm like young and nimble, and I go out on ledges all the time. So I'm smarter than this sign, and I don't need to follow it. So it's like you might as well not have the sign, right? Because the people who have the common sense not to go out on the ledge and take a selfie are going to do that anyway, and the people who really want to do it are going to, in defiance of all common sense, they're going to do it anyway too. So why have the sign and ruin the view for the rest of us? A good sign, here's the secret. You have to explain to people, you have to respect their intelligence enough to explain why it matters. So if anyone ever really wanted to solve the problem of toilet seats being left up in our office, what they would do is they would say, you know, a lot of times people leave the toilet seat up in this bathroom, and here's how it makes me feel. And then at least, even if people only ever read that sign once, that little piece of information would be imparted into their mind. And rather than like scolding them for something that they're a behavior that's never going to change, at least you could educate them and say, here's why it matters. Now you can be on the inside of this cause as well.
All right. There's a problem with this, because if you're worried about aesthetics, you're basically writing a letter like, here's why it upsets me that you leave up the toilet seat. 1, patriarchy. 2, which is that sign has showed up in many of the toilets.
But in all seriousness, reason number 1, patriarchy, that's not actually a reason. Like, you actually have to explain to the person who's leaving the seat up, who's not me, why it's a problem. I know
patriarchy is why it keeps happening, but it's not why it started, probably.
And that's the thing. It's like, hey, it feels gross, and it makes me think of what would I say? Be like, I waste many paper towels touching the toilet seat to put it down, and also I think about the penis and what penis in the office has done this.
I mean, if I had to write that sign, what I would say is, this is a note from a woman who works at this office. Every time I come into this bathroom, I have to touch the toilet seat to put it down, and it makes me feel really disrespected, and it makes me feel like the men in this office don't give enough of a shit about me to even clean up after themselves for 1/2 second when they're done in the bathroom. And I don't like coming to work and feeling like that, so if you could just do 1 second of work so that I don't feel like that, I would really appreciate it. That note would explain to people in turn, like, it invites the user to have empathy with the problem and see themselves as empowered to be part of the solution. Like, if you say, like, it's patriarchy, that doesn't communicate anything to anyone. It's just like, what, like, in fact, if you said, hey, if you leave the seat up, that's patriarchy, which I think may literally be a sign that has been up in the bathroom at some point.
Yeah.
What that says to me is, hey, we live in a broken world, and we're mad, and nothing's ever going to change. So why do anything? Why even bother to put the seat down? Like, do you know what I mean? It makes it feel so It's like telling someone you are a racist. When people go on Twitter and they say to these like alt-right fuckboys, and they say you're a racist. You know what they say? They say, hell yeah, I am. We should have an ethnic cleansing in America, and there should be like a white ethno-state or whatever. Like, you've given them no way. You have to give your enemy a way to retreat and save face. You have to say, hey, I know you're a good person, but you just said a racist thing.
Here, I disagree, though, because this is an act that is done in private. Like, no one, and I think that I wonder. No, now I want to put up a sign of like, if you leave up the seat, Alex will be wondering about will be thinking about your tiny penis.
I bet you my 5.1 surround sound system that if you put my sign up, that it would decrease the toilet. And we measured it empirically. Can I pop the
stack here? I think you guys are addressing this at maybe the wrong level. I think one problem is that. Is it a one-holer? It's a place where you go in and close the door and you're in by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, that feels like an extremely private space. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever been in this bathroom but me, right? This is my bathroom, and then sometimes other people use it. That's generally how people feel about a bathroom. It's why everybody has such weird standards about how I think you need to address this at an office level and say, hey, look, you're a bunch of fucking grown-ups. I know you know how to do this, and I understand that you're probably just forgetting. That's totally normal, but please stop forgetting. And listen, from now on, lift the seat if you're going to pee. And if you do pee, wipe it off. That's your pee. That's not anybody else's responsibility. But a sign.
I'm telling you, Merlin, I've done this exact thing that you're saying repeatedly in all all office meeting. We have like a one meeting every year where everyone gets together and it's the airing of the grievances. And it's usually like, please stop stealing scissors from the office and please put the toilet seats down. Like, I've literally addressed this with everyone, and it's like everyone. Maybe it gets, like I said, maybe it gets better for a day, but then everyone is like, well, I'm just one person. Like, everyone else will change.
It's funny though how like it is these. I'm not trying to minimize this, but on the other hand, it's like sometimes you just get a fucking bee in your bonnet. Whether that's where the seltzers are. In my case, I don't know why I can't keep a goddamn pair of scissors. Once a year, my wife will clean out my daughter's room and find 6 pairs of scissors at different places in her room. The spray that we spray on her hair, the detangling spray, we find 6 of those. Like, where do these all live at other times? How do they end up in the laundry hamper? And you do start to feel like a total crazy person. It's just that, like, when I look at the dog poop sign in particular, I feel like you think about all the people who are going to see this sign. A vast majority of the people who notice this sign at all are going to be people who don't have a fucking dog. Right?
Oh boy!
The main people that receive this message are going to be people who like don't even have a dog. Then there's going to be people who have a dog and clean up their poop. There's going to be, and they're going to be like, "Hey, why are you yelling at me?" Right? Then there's going to be people who have a dog and don't clean up their dog's poop and don't fucking care. And they're just going to laugh. It's such a Sisyphean sign. And my
office, the bee in my office bonnet is being called a sexist for running the air conditioner in the summer. There was an entire Slack channel devoted to calling me a sexist because I tried to broker a compromise on the air conditioner where we were allowed to keep the office at 72 degrees.
And I feel like, I love it when it's cold.
Speak your truth, Alex. I want to hear it.
I'm going to say it. As a woman who loves being cold in the office, I think the appropriate temperature for an office is 69 degrees because you can make yourself warmer. You can't make can't make yourself colder. Plus, we literally have blankets everywhere in the office, and we have had this problem where, especially in the studio, which does have its own HVAC system, we used to have like fucking condensation on the mics.
I know, it's humidity too. It's the whole thing. Alex, listen, congratulations on taking the red pill here.
Thank you.
I gotta say, I understand if this was fucking Mad Men and all the men came in wearing full wool suits in the summer and we set the office thermostat to 58 degrees and we had a secretarial pool plugging in the phones and they were all wearing mini skirts and they were shivering. I understand that at that point I would be a sexist. But I honestly, I think the preferred temperature of the Slack group that was dedicated to calling me a sexist for running the air conditioner, it was
like 80 degrees.
They wanted the office to be like 78, and I'm sorry, like, what about the fat people in the office?
It's true. I'm very warm right now recording.
Yeah, I'm hot right now. I have a sweat right now from popping off on one of my anti-woman rants.
You should start a Slack group that just you were in. Yeah. That says stop fat shaming the hot people.
I'm so hot and sweaty. I just ate a whole sandwich full of meat and I'm sweating.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh, get a massage. Did you guys want to start the show?
Yeah, we should probably get started. Oh boy. So who carried their iPhone around in the OtterBox?
Oh, I did.
The OtterBox.
I still have like an indent from
it really dug right into my kidney.
It really hurt.
I tried it, but like, I mean, real super real talk. The honest question, as they say on Twitter. So like, who is that for? Because I find it much easier to take my phone out of my pocket with my hand than I find it difficult.
Bro, and it's like wearing heels. It's like sometimes you have to suffer to look cool.
That's true.
You're going to be in a little bit of pain, but everyone's going to look at you and they're going to go, "Who's that guy?" Like,
man, his phone is big. Snap.
I do it. Okay, I'm glad it exists.
I got that super premium case where it's red just on the inside.
I don't even get that joke. Why did I laugh? Was that a Johnny Ive joke? Was that a red dot joke?
What is that?
An Insider Apple joke?
Louis Vuitton?
Oh, it's Louboutin. You got the red bottoms.
Yeah, the bloody shoes.
Louboutin.
Yeah.
Oh, challenge! Get a Birkin bag. Ooh.
Aren't those really hard to get?
Isn't that leather sack that you drink water out of?
Okay, no.
Birkin?
What are you talking about?
You think of the Birkins from that Trolls movie?
No.
I think of a pubic wig.
Oh yeah, Birkin. Right. It's like when you got to go to the opera and you bring a date. It's called a beard. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, there was a Planet Money
about the wonderful
episode.
Jane Birkin and the bag that she made that has become a phenomenon.
Oh, the Planet Money about the bag that you can't get.
Yes, and it was a
right.
big deal on Gilmore Girls, I remember, because Logan got Rory a Birkin bag. And the thing is, like, they are... some of them are only like $2,800, which I know people are like clutching their pearls right now, but in like the purse world, that's nothing. And most of them are like
$65,000.
Yeah, a lot of them are like 28,000. But it's a total like it's just total false scarcity. It's
like a total Veblen good, except it is practical in that you can put things in it and use it, but it's an utter Veblen good. It exists only to show how much money was spent on it.
But not even that. You need to know somebody to be able to buy a Birkin bag.
Get on the list,
I don't think Max could buy a Birkin bag.
Oh,
I do not
challenge.
think he had. I don't think that he would have
Yes,
the
I could.
resources.
I'm not going to, but I absolutely could. If I
I
set my
don't
mind,
think so.
If I
don't think so.
Basically,
No,
Alex, this is
no,
basically
I
my
don't
only
think
talent,
so.
my only skill
It's
in
not a
life.
purse, it's a European carry-all.
I don't think Elon. Well, if he no, actually, he hangs out with models.
If I set my mind to it, I could figure it out.
Nah, I don't think you could.
I really.
I'm pretty sure you couldn't. I'm pretty sure you don't have the money or the prestige or the connections. I don't think you could do it. Is this called goading? Am I doing it right?
Yeah. You couldn't get on the cool kid pirating website. How are you going to get into the exclusive purse club?
What are you talking? Oh, that I want to get on the. Which one are you talking about?
I don't even know. I
not
ran
supposed to
far
say it
away.
on the
Yeah,
podcast.
nope.
Listen, can I just throw out a request to our listeners? If you're like all of the good cool like trackers and everything that I used to be on, they're all shut down by the FBI. Could someone invite me to something cool where I can pirate things? That's all I want.
Have you seen we operated a much lower level than the Birkins. I got my lady an OK Nice Marc Jacobs bag for Christmas a few years ago, which was kind of a bit spendy, but it was a nice.
That's the Marc by Marc Jacobs, produced by Marc Jacobs.
Have you seen the famous label?
Yeah.
Jacobs by Marc Jacobs for Marc by Marc Jacobs in collaboration with Marc Jacobs for Marc by Marc Jacobs.
That's so funny.
That can't be real. Is it real? Please be real.
I think it's a little bit of performance. Like the one thing I know about Marc Jacobs that I think is pretty cool is like at one point someone like threw a brick through a window of his store in New York, and then he took a photo of the smashed window and printed it on a white T-shirt and sold it for like hundreds of dollars.
Oh, that's so good.
And they at least made enough money to fix the window, and I actually thought that was pretty cool.
Maybe we'll save it for the after show, but I feel like I really need to talk about the last couple of Shark Tanks.
Oh,
Jesus
I didn't watch
Christ.
the
I mean,
most
obviously,
recent.
at some point we've got to talk about the shorts frat boys, but also the Italian
What were they
guy,
called? Like turtle shorts?
dig dogs, nerd dogs.
Dog.
What was it called?
Dog birds. Bird dogs.
Dog birds.
Bird dogs.
Oh.
Bird
when he
dogs.
picks up the watermelon off the floor and eats it at the end, my family rewatched it 3 times. And then I go, the aristocrats is the worst presentation I've ever seen
Holy
in
shit.
my life.
And you get those guys up around your boys, up your thighs.
They're going to protect your nuts and berries. Didn't he go to
He
Harvard?
puts the shorts in his mouth and they drop the watermelon. It's so fucking bad.
Someone's not getting an invitation to the next Harvard Business School alumni dinner.
And that guy, how old do you think that guy was? Like, I think he wants you to think he's 22, but I think he's like 35.
Yeah, he might have been older than me.
He was broing it so hard. But the other one was the Italian guy. The guy with the stroller that has an elliptical on
Oh,
it.
boy.
Did you see it?
Well, he had a lot of patents. I mean, no one could possibly steal that idea because of
They
the...
just glossed by this, but like how much is that? $48,000. But it was I don't know. We got to talk about Shark
Merlin,
Tank.
for a grown man who owns a Segway and rides a little Segway around San Francisco, you should probably be careful about making fun of people's elliptical scooters. Digga. Follow up. San Francisco. At Rainbow Grocery, a cooperative in this city's Mission District, one brand of water is so popular that it's often out of stock. You know we have to talk about this.
Yes, of course,
But
please.
one recent evening, there was a glittering rack of it, glass orbs containing 2.5 gallons of what is billed as, quote, raw water. Unfiltered, untreated, unsterilized spring water, $36.99 each and $14.99 per refill, bottled and marketed by a small company called Live Water. Startups like Live Water in Oregon and Tourmaline Spring in Maine have emerged in the last few years to deliver untreated water on demand. An Arizona company, Zero Mass Water, which installs systems allowing people to collect water directly from the atmosphere around their homes, began taking orders in November. What adherents share is a wariness of tap water, particularly the fluoride added to it and the lead pipes that some of it passes through. They contend that the wrong kind of filtration removes beneficial minerals. Even traditional bottled water is treated with ultraviolet light or ozone gas and passed through filters to remove algae. That, they say, kills the healthful bacteria, quote, probiotics in raw water parlance.
I've read this article like every day.
I'm trying to find some of the good parts here.
Here's the problem: nobody can beat Chapo Trap House's bit on
I know they beat us to it.
I was so mad.
No. But having said that, that was a very insta-classic bit that was very, very, very fucking funny. But this is so on brand for us. We do need to talk about it. But as it will, but whoever said it on there, it's true. I mean, like this is like an aha moment for the Silicon Valley shit show, because you're like, okay, I'm really starting to understand this now. It's that you don't feel special until you do stuff that other people are incapable of having, and that you take away the things that are good from other people. So you take away the infrastructure that leads to good public schools. you let the infrastructure that brings clean water, the miracle of fucking clean water. Instead, you want this? Elon Musk, your problematic boyfriend? Oh, in public transit is not as clean as floor. It's like, fuck. It's just.
What are you going to ride on the bus with a bunch of commoners?
He's just scared of people. Poor guy. I think he's just like, oh, you don't have hair. I actually went looking for this raw water, and I don't think you can get it in Chicago because I feel like it'll kill me.
If I had to place a bet, I would say Dill Pickle Co-op.
That sounds like a place that exists.
Now remember, this it expires like all living beverages. Rejoice. So you only have it for about a month before.
He said the founder of this company, who's also the founder of Juicero, he said, quote, real water should expire after a few months. His does. Quote, it stays most fresh within one lunar cycle of delivery. If it sits around too long, it'll turn green. People don't even realize that because their water's dead, so they never see it turn green.
Every time you buy pads, pick up some live water. Rejoice. I'm going to need some menstrual supplies and a fresh glowing orb.
Oh, God. I bet his girlfriend rolls her own tampons. Oh, good God.
Oh, whoa. Me. What?
Do you not know about the organic tampon world?
Organic tampon rollers?
Yeah. Oh, there are some people who make their own tampons.
Are they made out of like old socks or like what?
No, just organic, cruelty-free.
You shear your own sheep.
You raise some sheep in your backyard.
Right, yeah, you could use it same way you make haggis. You'd use its organs as a kind of a vaginal cup. There's so many ways you could bring the sheep to the vagina.
Oh,
farm to vagina.
Yeah, you use their bladder as like a little diva cup. Oh, this
diva cup.
Yeah,
like the Navajo.
Oh, God.
You sound so wise when you say that. In the Navajo style.
Here was the other quote that from the New York Times piece that I could not believe is real. Like, I mean, it's like Onion-esque. He goes, the founder of this raw water company says he poured himself a glass of water and he says, the water from the tap just doesn't taste quite as refreshing, he said. Now, is that because I saw it come off the roof and anything from the roof feels special? Maybe.
Fucking Christ.
Anyway, I do think we should do this as a challenge.
Oh, man.
I mean, come on. It's so on brand for us.
It's saying what's probiotic.
Rejoice. It's a living beverage.
Hang on.
Oh, God.
Hey, you're still hanging on to those, huh? You might need them.
Couple March boys here.
You might need those.
For my work. It's good. Yeah, well, it's funny because we are so fortunate in San Francisco. This town is a terrible city, but we have really, really, really good water. I mean, it's just really, really awfully good. And I think like when I go to visit somewhere, especially in Florida.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, and it's hard in Florida. You got to do stuff to the water, and if you at least when I was a kid, you would see the houses would have giant rust stains on them from sprinkler systems. Like the water's not very good. It's very hard water and it tastes pretty nasty. And I think like, again, not to copy Chapo, but like this is a modern miracle. It's a miracle that we are so fortunate, most of us. I mean, obviously there are places like Flint, but it's incredible how cheap clean water is. It is miraculous that we have this. It is like a precious gift, and it's one thing we have managed to mostly not totally fuck up at this point. It's such a strange thing. It's one thing to say like, oh, I think factory farming is a terrible idea. It's very wasteful. It uses too many resources. It's cruel. I could see a million reasons to say I'm getting off meat and I want to eat organic, alternatives to meat. That's a problem that we really need to solve. I even say as a beloved carnivore. But water, there's so many things that we could do to water that would help everybody, and this is just so fucked up. That wasn't funny, but it's frustrating. It's like people are dedicating time and resources to this. It's crazy.
Do you think it's widely known among most people that tap water is like considerably safer and higher quality than bottled water?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of the raccoon water is just coming from a municipal system, but it's just municipal water, most of it.
Right. I mean, right. Most bottled water is just like there's one big bottling company that just bottles water from the north suburbs where Alex and I grew up. And
is that right?
Yeah, and it ships all over the country, but they're just bottling tap water, right? Like, and Chicago has good water, so that maybe if you don't like the taste of your like local municipal water, but like the regulations on on bottled water are way looser than the regulations on tap water.
That's why, I mean, that's the whole like scary plastic thing is they can melt in a factory for like that's why a bottle of water does have an expiry date, and I'm super bad about this. I drink bottles of water all the time. I have one right now because it's easy and convenient, but.
Oh my God! We switched over to we have some bottled water in the office in like our conference room, and so if there's people come over, they can grab a bottle. And I had asked I think I sent Renee out to get that boxed water is better brand because I was like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
it's like a paper,
in like a milk carton.
Yeah. But it has a screw top. It's good. It's I think it's a great product, and I do feel better about drinking it than a bottle of water. But so I sent Renee out to get those, and then. The Cards guys were here for the retreat, and they were like, "Oh, that's like an evil company. They're owned by like the Mercer family, and they like,
of course,
oh my God.
It's like part of the like Blackwater Empire or something like that. It's like Betsy DeVos's like water company, yeah, something like that. They're pretty evil." Yeah, the other thing that's pretty crazy is like if you lived 1,000 years ago or in like medieval times or something like that, like this is probably how you would die. It's like you would drink bad water. Like someone would die in your village and they'd throw their body down the well and then the entire village would die. It's probably how you would die. And now no one dies because of their water is bad.
Well, rarely. Like, yeah.
Where do we go from here? Like what commodity after water can be made special?
Seeds.
Well, that's already happened. Like the Monsanto-free seed.
In China, there's an air market. There's like people who buy like fresh air.
Oh.
Wow.
And that's already happening. So I guess, challenge oxygen. I want what the next Internet of Things craze is like. How much CO2 is in your air? But then there's the good CO2 and the bad CO2.
Okay, Google, release the oxygen.
All right, go to giveusoufuckingmoney.com and there's a $5 tier and you get a second show every week, which I don't really edit.
It's a premium episode.
And that's usually where feelings happen. But for $10, you can get a wonderful poster with all your favorite characters like Mr. Elon Musk.
I think we're working on some new swag to send out to that $10 list.
I don't even know. Sure.
Okay.
Let's
talk about it in the
Alex had an idea for a new challenge level. Alex and Max, I know you've been busy. You probably haven't kept up, but Alex and I had a new idea for a big What do you call it? A force goal? What's it
Well,
called? An own goal?
a stretch goal.
Push boy.
But like actual real stuff. Our posters are almost gone, and so we send them out once a month. And so get them. Actually, if you're hearing this episode, if you want a poster, order it or pledge by the end of this month, because then I think we're done.
Listen, if you want to do the challenges on the podcast with us, every week we do a premium episode.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, we plan out the next week's
the
challenge.
Main reason
and you can do it with us, and then you can be up to date. All right.
Yeah, otherwise you're forbidden from doing.
Speaking of which, I actually do really want to talk about the challenge this week. It was my challenge. Can we get to it?
Dig Dug.
All right, I had a pretty good next door.
Okay, wait. All right. I want to hear about next door.
We can cut it out though. It's not that good. Never mind. Cut that out.
I had a whole thing about
really...
how Donald Trump Jr. said that Ellen DeGeneres was running a shadow government with Barack Obama.
If you want to hear about Merlin's next door story and how Ellen DeGeneres,
can I just give you the subject line? Just the subject line.
Yep. Go for it. Tease it for the after show.
Possible stray pitbull mix wearing Warriors shirt.
Wow, you don't. I'm not even gonna.
Read that again. Possible stray. Actually, let me read it as it's written. Possible stray pitbull mix wearing Warriors shirt. It's a dog in a t-shirt.
I'm not gonna. There's a lot of
levels.
There's a lot of levels. There's a lot going on there.
Again, if you would like to hear Merlin unpack this, give us your fuckingmoney.com.
All right. The challenge this week was I don't know if our loyal listeners may have remembered from a couple weeks ago. Merlin recommended the Amazon original program Patriot, not The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson,
Patriot.
where he murders a British commander with a tomahawk.
Sorry if you watched the wrong thing.
I actually do like that movie. It's a pretty good movie. But
are you not entertained? Which one is that?
Oh, the Patriot. It's pretty good. It's got a good score by John Williams. Anyway, it's got fife and drum. I love fife and drum music. Gets me very excited. No, so this is called Patriot. Merlin recommended it to me, and the way he pitched it is it's like an Elmore Leonard novel, which I love, mixed with a Coen Brothers movie, which I love, sort of with the cinematography, with the very sort of, not cute, but very precise and smart cinematography of like Wes Anderson or it kind of reminded me of Breaking Bad a little bit, of like you had these very precise shots that really rewarded your attention. They sort of helped you notice things in the scene.
Kind of alternating between using the edges of the screen and focusing very heavily on the center of the screen, very Wes Anderson-y kind of approach.
It was really good filmmaking. And anyway, it had all the stuff I loved, and you didn't even tell me anything about the cast, but holy fucking shit, the cast. And I was a little bit skeptical because I've watched a couple of these Amazon original shows, and none of them have stuck. Like, I don't think they're that good. Like, I watched like a little bit of Man in the High Castle and a little bit of the Jeffrey Tambor one, and I haven't. None of them have like. They're all like okay. They're all fine. But this, holy shit! I watched just the pilot of this. I would say within the first 20 minutes or the first 10 minutes of this pilot, I was like, this show feels like it was made just for me. Like it's,
exactly. You can watch the first. A lot of people say the first 9 minutes. There's stuff that happens in the first 9 minutes. It's nothing epic, but like by the time he's done singing his song, you're like, what in the fuck is this? Like I felt like as much as it reminded me of other
scene for me.
things-
The first scene, I was like, yep.
So the premise of the show, I'm going to try to. I think
we agreed we can spoil the pilot. Didn't we agree?
So for right now, let's do non-spoilers, and then I will when we want to get into super spoilers.
That's fine. So
perfect.
So without spoiling it, the premise of the show is it's the story of this spy, played by an actor who I've never seen before. I don't know the guy's name, but he's unbelievable. He's so. I mean, he's so funny and so sad. It's like I don't know. There's a lot of. He's a very small actor too, so like a lot of the acting is just like a close up of his face, and you just see him.
But just the tiniest little. Like, his name's Michael Dorman.
Yeah.
He's born in New Zealand, based in Australia. But he even has a subtle Texas accent. I don't know how he pulled that off. But yeah, his face registers tiny little changes, and he does this like little smile of recognition at certain points that's just heartbreakingly beautiful.
He's so good, and he plays
and it's a dark comedy. We're not telling you the part that it's a fucking black comedy.
very fun.
Black comedy with the feels.
It's so funny.
Impossible.
It's so funny. I was laughing out loud, like alone watching it. It was so
Big step
fucking
back for
funny.
you, Steven.
A whole breakfast, a whole spread with breakfast breads, etc.
It's an optimistic meal.
But
well, as the wolf says in my favorite film, Pulp Fiction. Let's not start
Oh my
sucking each other's
God.
dicks.
So it tells the story of the spy, and he has to get a knock, which stands for a non-official cover, where he sort of infiltrates a piping company in Milwaukee in order to travel with this company to Luxembourg to do some dirty business for the State Department.
That involves basically Iran not being able to produce an imminently producible nuclear weapon.
Yeah, and it's like there's this on the Jewish holiday of Passover. There's this song called Dayenu, and the idea of the song is you're like listing all the things that God did for the Jews when they were getting out of Egypt, and then at the end of every line you say Dayenu, which means like it would have been enough. So it's like if God had just sent the locusts, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If God had just told the Jews to bake their matzah so they could escape into the desert, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If he had just parted the Red Sea, Dayenu, it would have been enough. And that's how I feel about this show. Like if it was just a workplace comedy with this really sad guy in this crazy piping company in the Midwest, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If it had just been the spy comedy where it's like a Coen Brothers, everything goes wrong and there's all this international intrigue and it's really funny and smart, like Dayenu, it would have been enough. If it just had Terry O'Quinn from Lost and Red Foreman from That 70s Show, both playing unbelievable characters, like Dayenu, it would have been enough. But also, the whole hook of the spy character is he's a folk singer and he sings these very literal, earnest songs about exactly what he's doing as a spy, and it's like
his honesty is probably good for folk music, but maybe not for somebody in the intelligence.
It helps him with the feelings.
It helps him with his feelings.
like if it,
maybe I'm partial. I think they're good.
like Dayenu, it would have been enough. Like if it just had his fuck up brother in the tracksuit.
But it's also like the introduction of his wife, who's like a fully formed like character, and they have a good relationship, but they can't be together. You never see
My God,
that.
the all women's detective agency in Luxembourg.
Was it Skirts and Stockings?
Skirts
the
and
woman with the glasses. The one with the glasses who follows Cool Rick. Oh my God. We haven't even talked about Cool Rick. You getting crumbs in there, buddy?
This show has
Good,
so
just
much.
don't.
And let me say my final pitch for the show, which is nobody knows about this show. Merlin, how the fuck did you find out about this?
Apple TV came on for me. Apple TV came to Amazon came to Apple TV.
I listened to a podcast that Jason Snell does with Tim Goodman called TV Talk Machine. It's my Friday night take a shower show, that and Dickerson, and because people care about my shower
Dickerson
podcast.
in the shower.
Dickerson in the shower. La la la. He's just moved to a different show at CBS. And so I listened to that program, and Tim had talked about he hates doing this, like most critics. He hates doing his end of the year top N list. And he mentioned this show called Patriot. And he said, well, first of all, I made it number 4. And like, even as I was making it number 4, I realized it probably should have been way higher. And I was like, this sounds really interesting. And he explained the premise. The premise is that he's a spy with PTSD who sings incredibly on-the-nose folk songs about how his missions have gone wrong. And I was like, well, sounds like that might be in my wheelhouse. And so I watched the pilot, Dayenu. And then I watched the pilot, and I was just like, Max, it's boring to say. This feels like somebody made this show. Somebody made Stephen Chu just for me. With the helmet and the earnestness and the playing the piano and yeah, so that's how I learned about it. Not many people know about it, and I have officially adopted this as a thing I'm going to tell people about. This is going to be my new Hawkeye, and I'm going to be really annoying about it, but I really encourage people.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. And
give it a shot.
Now, I agree with Merlin. There's like a song kind of in the first, like, let's say 10 minutes of the pilot, and I was like, okay, I'll stick with this. But then at the end of the pilot, there's a one long tracking shot where it's sort of the culmination of the episode and sets up a lot of the season, and it's one of the funniest perfect things I've ever seen. And I saw that and I was like, this might be the best pilot I've ever seen in my life. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They say I've mangled this over the years, but people say when talking about the 3-act structure of a play or a movie that in Act 1, our hero climbs a tree. In Act 2, we throw apples at him, and in Act 3, we see how he changes as he figures out how to climb down. And I feel like that is fully realized, except you don't really get too much of 3, but he gets so many goddamn apples thrown at him just in the pilot, and believe me, spoiler alert, it doesn't get better. But it's so perfect. But you're right, dramatically, it really sets this up as something where you're I've got to see the
every
rest.
time you think that he's couldn't be more fucked, everything goes more wrong, and every time it happens, it's so funny. It's so funny.
It is. It's funny and it's sad. And there's a point actually in the final episode. This is not a spoiler, but this is just where his father says to him, "Look, I mean, basically gives you this adult mandate of like, sometimes we're told not to do things, even when we know it's a thing that we've got to do." And you get that that's the nature of being in this intelligence community, is that there's horrible stuff that you're told not to do that you actually do have to do. And he's just stuck in that machine, and the teeth of that machine, and they're just chewing him up.
Before we get into spoilers, I feel like we're not addressing that it's also super whimsical. Like, it is a fun show to watch. Despite, like, I was laughing out loud and crying.
It's a very smart show, and not in the way of Rick and Morty, where there's literally a character who tells you
I
that
was
he's
a
smart.
woman, and
Yeah.
I could understand the show.
But it's smart.
The language is very musical and lively, and there is a lot of the stuff that I love along the lines of, again, of a Coen Brothers movie. There's a reason that The Big Lebowski is so quotable, or if you take something like Glengarry Glen Ross, because there's a musicality and a sound just to the language of the piping industry that is so bizarre and hilarious.
Will you do the little piping speech,
up.
Merlin? I know you have it somewhere.
Well, this might, before we go to the spoiler, maybe I should just give you a quick update on what Tiff is eating today. Would that be okay if I did that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, well, let me walk you through Tiff's lunch today. Okay, she's eating light today, all right? So she pan-bargled corn tam shamblings with Bon Tom Dumas and seasonal Frank Stranglers. Those are quad Coke quartered and half heart hangled with spangled French shambles in a dampened room brine, and then you let that set, okay? While the pan press is preheating, you drown 6 to 9 prank pine caps in duck reduction, and you throw that away. Everything that you have left gets brass roasted in bun tungsten and then dropped on capstan creases of narrow bicentennial breads. That's sliced diagonally.
Most of those words I didn't even know.
What about the coworker at the piping place?
Dennis?
Is that Dennis? Yeah.
Oh no,
my
we
God,
can't.
Dennis,
We can't talk about him. We can't talk about
Watch
Ichabod.
This show.
What?
Watch this show.
Ichabod.
Here's. I also.
Oh, I thought Ichabod was your nickname. Why would you think that?
From now on, spoilers from this point on.
Okay.
When Ichabod says, "Are you aware of heterosexual cuddling?"
Cuddling. How do we do this?
Like, it just keeps
Okay.
building.
Did you finish the
building.
season?
Yes.
Let the endorphins and the dopamine. Watch it.
But here's the thing: is
Okay.
that went from being one of the probably
That
the funny.
scene.
It went from probably being the funniest line in the season to also being one of the most poignant moments in the season.
That was another cry
really
moment.
beautiful
Oh
moment.
My
like
God.
this show is so rangy, and it's just
Really, you don't know where it's gonna go, and then it goes somewhere, and it wasn't what you expected, and it completely subverts your expectations.
I don't think I've had a feeling watching this show that was like this since I watched like Arrested Development. When I was watching Arrested Development, I was aware. I was like, I am watching a modern classic. Like I've never seen anything like this before in comedy, and it's so tight. It's like I when I was watching Arrested Development, I was like, I will watch this 10 more times just to catch everything happening in here. It's
Yes.
so good, and it's so smart, and it's thinking 10 steps ahead at every turn. And I have not really had that feeling since watching Patriot. I love this show so much. Could not give it my highest higher possible endorsement. And here's the thing is nobody knows about this show and nobody is watching it. And if you get into it now, you get to be a hipster. You get to be a Patriot hipster. You can be one of the
You
guys.
can say you liked it when it was the first season.
Yeah, when it eventually gets canceled because no one watches it, you can be like, oh, like, fuck you guys for not watching it, which is how I'll be after it gets canceled after its second season.
Everybody's laughing and riding and cornholing, except Buster.
Who would want to go up in that musty old claptrap? The cabin.
You do it better. Do the noise, Alex.
I can't do it now. I'm a donkey. What's? Oh,
It
God.
sounds like someone's making some kind of organic juice from a donkey. Donkey juice. Hi. Can I talk to you today about donkey juice?
So, all right. Well, I don't think now upon reflection, because I thought so here's the thing. When I was thinking about this challenge, I was like, people are going to watch it with us. But most of our listeners didn't watch it with us because they're not premium subscribers.
That's why we've earned.
I don't think we should. I don't think we need to spoil it any further.
We could say exactly what happens. We could tell every single plot
But
twist,
why?
and it still would be an amazing show. So we don't need to say anything. We don't like. One thing I do want to say: if you are a person who makes television, just I don't. There's been a trend recently, I think, in like the golden age of television, people or whatever we're calling it now, and
Platinum.
What? Sorry.
Oh, some people are calling it the platinum age.
Prestige,
God.
prestige TV.
Where it's just I don't know, everything. There's this style that is just kind of like people are just trying to mimic Breaking Bad and Mad Men, and it's like the Uber for this or the Mad Men for this.
About the fake smart shows, the
Yeah.
House of Cards style, like fake smart shows, where you're like all the moves, but it doesn't feel fresh or consequential or particularly brainy or toothy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but it knows all the gestures of seeming like a premium show.
It's either mimicking David Fincher or filmed by David Fincher, which what's that politics, the Kevin Spacey one?
House of Cards.
Yeah, it's like House of Cards was literally like the pilot was directed by David Fincher, right? So like it has this very smart camera work where it's like the camera's always like in motion and it's always like gesturing to something and there's people talking to the camera and it has this very smart air about it of like, ooh, pay attention to all of this. Like you're gonna put all the pieces together and like you're not. The pieces don't make any sense. Like it's just a cheap trick of like mimicking something that's smart in the hopes that you feel smart for watching it, I guess, and give it more credit than it deserves. But that's a show that's like clearly really, they don't have much of a plan. It's not going anywhere. Nothing makes any sense. And like, it's just Patriot's not that. Like all of those smart camera moves, when they're moving the camera in or doing something really deliberate, like it does fucking pay off. It does matter. Like you are supposed to pay attention to that. The pieces do fit together. If they never made another episode of this show, I would be completely satisfied. I would be absolutely satisfied. And I'm optimistic for the second season, but like, I don't need any more. Like, this was a 10-episode masterpiece. Every episode of the show was perfect. Perfectly cast, perfectly written, perfectly shot. It was perfect.
I'm so glad to hear that you liked it because it is. It reminds me a little bit when Syracuse said you might want to check out this show called The Leftovers. He's like, I don't know if you like it. I can promise you that it is very, very weird, but it's worth worth taking a shot. That's kind of how I feel with this because I could very much see somebody watching this and going, "Oh, it's cute," because it is. It's cute. It's not it's not a serious show on the face of it. It's not a purely comedy show. It is really quirky, but it is so successfully quirky without being cute. And that is very, very hard to pull off. I mean, it's like when you see Wes Anderson when he's not really totally. You look at something like
Right.
So you take like a Mr. Fox or Rushmore, which I think are like awfully, awfully good. But even as good as the one with Gwyneth Paltrow is, it's still so Wes Anderson. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get into Life Aquatic, which is practically Wes Anderson porn. And it's like, oh, you're doing that thing again. And I never got that sense with this. And I never got the sense that it was a direct. I'm talking too much, but you were just talking about how much we like it, which is good. It's really, really good. I've watched some episodes 5 times. I've watched episode 8 3 times now. I saw all of it twice with my wife. I've gone back just on my own for fun and watched the pilot a total of 5 times, and I've watched 10 twice, but 8 is, I think, one of the unimpeachably great episodes of TV.
Remind me which one is 8? Is that a Luxembourg? Is that a Luxembourg one?
He's
the one with
sitting-
that's the one with
he's
the
sitting
in
in
the
the
circle.
pipe. He's sitting in the
yes,
pipe.
yes.
That has my favorite shot
John, we got an email.
Oh my God. The people coming in and out of frame, that's my favorite.
And you see people coming from a distance. You're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Is that Leslie? Is that going to be Leslie?
Yeah.
God damn it, that shot. That was so good.
And his response is his monosyllabic responses where he's just like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
He'll go like,
That's
count
cool.
me.
Did any progress on that paperwork? Not as yet.
The extra number. It all comes down to the extra number. This is my husband.
Oh my God.
You don't know who Dick Cheney
You're not
is?
allowed to write things down. He likes your voice. He says, you have a very nice voice. And everyone goes, yeah, you have a very nice voice.
Oh God! Like you thought you knew where the Dick Cheney episode was headed, and you knew, and it did head there. But like, you don't know who Dick Cheney is.
You know Dick Cheney is?
Oh my God! And I still
What's your,
just want to say,
what does your father do?
Hold up! If you are listening to us and you're like, I fucking hate Wes Anderson. This isn't. It's not Wes Anderson. It's not cute for the sake of being cute. There are poignant tracking shots. Like, it doesn't, not every single shot is centered. It's not, like, please, if you hate Wes Anderson.
The shot where Leslie's waiting for him to show up for breakfast, where he's just sitting there, everything is perfectly centered, and he's got the whole spread out in front of him.
With the breakfast spreads, etc.
But there's also those, like, chaotic shots where, like, he's riding a bike, and it's every shot. It's not Wes Anderson porn. It's not Coen Brothers porn. It's just its own thing, which is I don't know how Stephen Conrad got to do that, because I don't.
Who made this? Who's the guy, the showrunner and the director?
Stephen Conrad, and he's done. He did Pursuit of Happiness and Walter Mitty, which I haven't seen. Weatherman, which I have seen for some reason. What else?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't have guessed this was his.
Also, what's his name? The horn dog guy from Ally McBeal is one of the co-creators. Sorry. Okay, the guy who gets overdressed for the hunting expedition and wants John to shoot all the birds for him.
Oh, okay.
He's a co-creator of the show?
He's the Ally McBeal guy, and I think he's a co-creator. He at least wrote and I think maybe directed some of these.
He was very funny.
I'm in love with her.
He's just so much desperation. But you know, one thing.
God, the whole
is
Twizzler
very
speech.
Coen Brothers. What?
The Twizzler speech.
Oh my God, the Twizzlers! And then they did it. They went there.
Yep.
I just and the Asian woman, she has a tiny part in Pitch Perfect, which is a fucking great film. Everyone go see it. It's real good. Not the third one, the first Pitch Perfect, but she's so good. And I thought that, like, maybe that part in Pitch Perfect, it happened to be like good comedic timing and good directing. No, she is so good in this. Everyone
Are you
is
talking
just
about the glass blower?
a puppeteer doesn't make a difference. Same thing, really.
You're preparing for a glass blower if you're meeting a puppeteer. You think it'll be harder? Well, she has to work with the. It's like, I'm sorry, we're doing that thing that's so fucking annoying, but it's hard for me to imagine somebody who enjoys this show. I just think now we're just selling it, but like there's just so much joy and so much sadness, as Tim and as Jason Snell says. He just calls the show Sad Spies, because it's just like, okay, who's the sad spy this week? Who's the person whose backstory? Oh, the brothers. You get the level of the brothers and the mirroring of the roles of the two brothers in the different, you know what I mean? Jay Wick Sands is wonderful. You get those two brothers over here and these two brothers over here, and the father that has expectations of them both, and it's like, yes.
I'm gonna ask a lot of you.
Oh God. And then the brother, he just wants to have a cold beer. He brings the beer and his brother's gone.
It's a lot. God. It means a lot that you just want to have a cold. Why am I just quoting this show?
Because it's totally quotable. It's incredibly quotable.
It's so.
And you guys know Jack Birdbath, is that correct?
I know him he's an artist in Chicago, and I know a couple of other people on the show too. I'm going to see if
it was shot in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can
night.
get a couple people. I'm going to see if I can get anyone to come on Do by Friday and talk about the show.
Now I'm obsessively rewatching, trying to figure out where in Chicago it was shot.
Maybe in a month we can have a guest on and do like a spoiler cast.
If anybody ego surfs and finds out and they'll get to this point in the timestamp of the show and they say, hello, how are you? If you're involved with this show, tell me what I can do to help make it big and popular and promote it. I would do anything I can to make people aware of this show and help make it successful. This is what I want out of TV.
It's in some ways, I think Alex actually was the one who told me this, but like in some ways it's unfortunate that it's on Amazon. So it's great that it's on Amazon because who the fuck else would make this show? But it's unfortunate in a way because I think Amazon, at least for me, they don't have a lot of credibility. Like if something is an Amazon original, I'm kind of like,
Transparent.
They're getting
obviously
there.
was a big
Transparent was
it's all right.
like it.
No, I mean it was critically wasn't that just the cracking big winner? A couple
Yeah.
years ago?
It was a trans show about people who aren't or for people who aren't trans, and it was kind of like, man, I don't know. I wasn't a fan. Man in the High Castle, I was like, okay, we get it. But the Maisels, oh my god, like I'm all in for that. That's another
That's a very good show.
Well, I know that. Yes, Max, I know. I'm not telling you to watch Gilmore Girls. I know. But
Here's the difference between Miss Maisel and Patriot. The whole premise.
I'm not comparing them in any sense.
Max
okay,
is.
okay.
The whole premise of Miss Maisel is that she's this like brilliant comedian who hangs out with Lenny Bruce, and you see her do stand up in the show. And
But
in order for it
it's
to
not funny enough.
Yeah, in order for it to be plausible, it has to be funny, and it's not funny. And in Patriot, he's supposed to be a pretty good folk singer, and in order for that to be plausible, he has to sing some pretty good folk songs. And you know what? They're pretty good folk songs.
Yeah.
He pulls it off.
Afternoon spray.
Oh my god, I can't
Oh, the
believe
canoe! The
God.
canoe! Holy shit!
The kayak.
You got
You keep covering the same portion of the kayak.
you guys got why it had the hole in it, right?
Why?
Because edit this out. Okay, edit this out. It's because when he went to hang himself, he had to punch the hole in it. That's why it had a hole in it.
To hang the rope from?
Yes.
No,
Oh, shit.
wait,
You see
no,
that?
no.
You see that later when you see him rig the whole thing up on the kayak.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah, because he's trying to. Okay.
So
yes.
that's why it had the hole.
That's what I was
Oh,
trying.
my God.
I was trying to
There's
figure
so
out.
many little things in that where I'm on the second time through, or like I'm still kind of watching it the second time, but there's so many
Did
little
you notice
parts.
the fake FedEx that keeps coming up?
What?
The fake FedEx that he gets late in the season is the same brand as the company on the truck that hit Steven.
What?
No. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's the fake FedEx?
Well,
the book.
Well, watch it.
The book.
Well, when the book gets delivered, I believe it's the book that gets, but it's like a fake Fed. It's a FedEx, right? That's the same brand as on the truck that hit Steven
God.
at like minute 7.
Can I just say, I love in Seinfeld that they call it Federal Express.
I still call it Federal Express. That's what we called it. That's what it was called.
It delights me.
like-
There's
like calling. It's like calling.
Telephone and Telegraph provides the service for my information phone.
it's actually shocking how
It's
because
like
so
calling
many
it
shows.
Instantaneous Gram.
Yeah.